Rotary and that my father was a very active Rotarian and my mother was an inner wheeler.
All right.
I'm now the immediate past president of the Rotary Club of Elstree and Boreham Wood.
And what inspired you to advocate forming a satellite club?
I was frightened into it, frankly. At Manchester conference, when we heard the statistic that the average age of Rotarians was now, I think, 76, I thought, well, that demographic speaks for itself. And having known how much Rotary meant to my father and what I had gained from being a Rotarian, I thought if I could do anything about this, I'm going to do it. And when the question of satellite clubs was raised and it was explained to us how this could be done, we started to think seriously about it in our locality.
And did you encounter any opposition from your existing club?
Yes, there were people, and there are still people I know who are concerned that the satellite club would lead to the demise of the existing club. Some members put that to me. My answer to that would be that I know of several places where there are more than one Rotary club. Plymouth, for example, where I was born, has 3, a breakfast club, a lunch club and an evening club, so they're catering for all tastes. Our aim was to prevent what we saw as a natural ending to something that meant so much to all of us, and not to compete but to cooperate where we could.
And how did you identify possible members of the new satellite club?
There were some that were already known to us. There were people who had helped us with local activities, but for example who worked out of the town or who had other commitments which made it impossible for them to attend local meetings. We knew those people would be interested, and we also looked around to people who were involved with us in other aspects of our lives in the community. 2 of our members are local councillors and involved with running, for example, events for older people, and some of their volunteers have now come into the satellite club. And we held out, if you like, a carrot to people of saying what we're asking from you is an hour a month of your time. Because something that I heard at the same time I heard about the possibility of satellite clubs was from the president of RI, whatever you do with these people now, do not waste their time. Because so many, especially young people, are time poor.
And so what approach did you use to attract them, apart from saying it's an hour a month? What other ways did you use to attract them to the club?
What we said to them was, I think the fundamental idea of Rotary, that this is something that's based on enjoyment, it's based on friendship. We told them that we use in Rotary the term fellowship, and out of our friendship grows the work that we do in the community. And we didn't try and make it look like an onerous chore to be a Rotarian and make people feel that perhaps they were unworthy of being a Rotarian. I've known of people who haven't joined for that reason, and my strong feeling has always been that anybody with the integrity to want to join Rotary would not join it if they don't feel they can meet the commitment of being a Rotarian. We've got an attractive venue, we're very lucky, we have the film studios in Boreham Wood, we meet there, and we make sure that part of the meeting, even if we have a speaker, is social. We might have a quiz, we might have something else that's light-hearted, and if people want to stay after the hour, they're welcome to, but the hour is all we're asking for them, either on a Monday or on a Tuesday, once a month.
And what help did you get from district?
We've had tremendous help from district all the way through, ever since we started to grow the idea. David Palmer, Helen, yourself, Adrian made very, very frequent visits all the way through, so that we made sure that everything we did was according to the correct procedures. And so we're very grateful for the help that we've had.
And what's the general profile of your new members?
Well, that's the most exciting thing of all, because the average age of the members we have now, I would say, is 50. And I counted the numbers of countries from which they come at our inaugural dinner, and they are representing 10 different countries. So they are looking like the Rotary Club that reflects Britain as it is today, rather than Captain Mannering saying, oh, I've got to go to the Rotary Club, because that's probably the only place I've seen Rotary mentioned in the media. And when we were talking about what's the image of Rotarians, well, old white men, I think. I've even got a friend in America who told me, Nick, it's great you're in Rotary, what a pity women can't join. And then I explained to her how women came to be in Rotary, and that it was women in America who brought that about. But still, there's tremendous ignorance out there, isn't there, of what we do? So we're trying to change that.
And what's the format of your meetings?
The meetings begin with a review of the past meeting, but it's not full lots of minutes of meetings, just a brief overview of what was done before. There's always some mention of events in the community where help is needed, and then we will usually have a speaker, sometimes on a strictly Rotary topic, sometimes on other topics. We had, for example, the British Legion talking about the poppy appeal, and then very often a quiz or something light-hearted like that. And we finish, as I say, with the invitation to remain behind if they'd like to do so. There's no meal involved. We just have nuts and olives and so on the table. We don't even have sandwiches. We don't really think people are looking for that. What they're glad of is the opportunity to come to Rotary and still have a bit of their evening at home with their family when they get back.
And do you meet every week?
Once a month. But it can either be a Monday or a Tuesday, so there's 2 monthly meetings. They can choose which they come to.
So you have 2 meetings, but people generally just come to the Monday one or just come to the Tuesday?
Mostly, some go to both, but mostly one or the other.
And what's the current attitude of members of the parent club, the existing club?
There's still concern about it as to whether it will lead to the end of the existing club. I very much hope that won't be the case. Obviously there's a need for recruitment consistently, and part of my motivation of becoming involved in this is because I've tried very, very hard to bring new members into the club and found it very difficult to do so, because the kind of people I've tried to target have just not been able to make the commitment to a lunchtime meeting. If we'd been an evening club, it perhaps would have been different. But even had we been an evening club, we wouldn't have had the more modern approach that we are now adopting.
And so you have enough members now that you can actually become a separate Rotary club. How do you envisage the relationship between the new Rotary club as it will be and the existing Rotary club?
Well, my wish would be that we would work as closely together as possible. For example, we've just purchased a wishing well from the Exmouth Club, the ones that they promote and manufacture. And I think we would like to have joint responsibility for that. Rotary has pushed successfully for a bandstand to be built in our biggest local park, and we're going to have it named after one of the former members of the parent club. So that will be something that I'm sure both clubs would like to become involved in, and wherever we can work together, I will certainly do my best to make sure that that's what happens.
And lastly, have you enjoyed the journey?
Yes, it's been a roller coaster journey, but it's been very enjoyable, and what seemed like a dream at the beginning became a reality much more quickly than I would have thought possible.
So would you recommend it?
Very much so.
Thank you, Nick.